BMW has been making some fantastic driving cars for many decades, and the 3 and the 4 Series have been known to be the benchmark for sports sedans. Just take a look at any autocross or track day weekends where you find a lot of these older cars. There's even a Spec 3 racing series where some old 325s are living their best lives, going really fast around corners. Fast forward to today, and the new BMW M340i is even faster than some of the older M cars. And the latest crop of M3 and M4 cars, even though they have some questionable styling, they are the most hardcore version of those cars ever. And now BMW is applying that brand equity and enthusiasm to electric vehicles. Enter the i4. The i4 isn't new, just a couple of years old, but this one that I'm reviewing is the new xDrive40. The xDrive means all-wheel drive, and that means dual motor and more powerful at a net 396 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque that's capable of blasting from 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. That's getting closer to the 3-digit M-car performance like the M440i, and it does it with a smoothness no inline 6 could ever emulate. There's no drama, there's no rattles and vibrations, just the sound of an electric whine and extra manufactured noise should you want it. You've heard it all before, EVs are soulless and boring, but maybe it's because your commute is soulless and boring. If all you do is just driving from point A to point B on very boring roads, then the BMW i4 is no different than any other dual motor EVs. But how about when the road starts to twist a little bit? This is where EVs come alive. The lower center of gravity means you have better stability and agility. And with the dual motor aspect, that means that you have more tire surface, putting more torque onto the ground. So EVs with dual motors, they become like rally monsters as long as you have the right tires. And with the BMW i4, it has a 2-inch lower center of gravity compared to the 4 Series Gran Coupe. All of the non-EV portions of the car start to play a factor here as well, like the seats, the seating position, the steering wheel, and also your sight lines. All of those things are characteristically BMW. It feels like the M340i that I tested. It's just missing the awesome exhaust note and the sounds from the inline 6. And this one comes with the adaptive M suspension with electronically controlled dampers, so you can tweak how stiff the ride will be. And generally, this is a pretty firm kind of drive, even at the softest setting, and ramp this up to sports setting, and it feels like a proper sports car. Steering feel generally feels good too. It's electronic power steering system, although I find that there is too much assistance even at the stiffest setting, so I prefer a sportier driving feel with a heavier steering feel. The brakes generally feel good too, but low speed and driving around town situations, the handoff between the regen braking and those friction brakes can be a little bit vague and sometimes not too comfortable. And when it comes to regen braking, you have multiple levels here, and there's also adaptive braking, which I'd rather leave off. So while this is reminiscent of the M340i that I drove, there are some limiting factors here that make this feel a little different. This being an EV, yes, it's heavier. Most of your weight is down below. So while there's a little bit better weight distribution, this is still a heavier car, and you're more limited by what these tires can do. These ones have the Hankook Ventus S1 Evo tires. These are nice performance tires, but it just feels like there's more heft when you're driving around those tight corners. Between this and a comparably equipped M440i, you're carrying about an extra 800 pounds with this EV. Now to charge up, you have this port over on the right hand side, and this leads to an 83.9 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery that you could DC fast charge. If you have a level 2 charger at home, you can get to full in less than 10 hours. That's a nice overnight charge, but when you're going to a DC fast charging station to get to 80%, it takes a little over half hour. As for the styling, it still looks like a 3 or 4 Series. This is an i4 Gran Coupe, so it's a 4-door design with a trunk and the rear windshield in one piece, so it looks somewhat like a 5-door hatch design. The kidney grille is gigantic. I think we all know at this point how everyone feels about this portion of the front bumper. This i4 version is entirely cosmetic at this point because there's no opening necessary for an EV. This tester that I have, the paint is called Mora Metallic. I can't even spec this color out on the online configurator. If you can, please let me know in the comments, but I cannot find this color at all, and it's $4,500 extra. So this must be something really special. And it also comes with a 19 18-inch M Aero wheels, the Style 860M. You do pay a price for this premium look as it compromises on the range. Now the stock 18-inch wheels, they're rated for the full range of this car, which is 307 miles. Now with these 19-inch wheels, it goes down to 279 miles. That's a 28-mile reduction. Now, why is that? Well, bigger wheels have larger inertia, so it takes a little bit more effort to get these wheels rotating. There is a slight benefit with larger flywheels, basically. It takes a little bit longer and also takes more effort to slow down. So you have some regen braking benefits with larger wheels. But the overall net effect is a reduction in range. So if all you care about is maximizing the amount of range out of your EVs, then you should really stick with smaller wheels. Now at the back, we have the same design as the gasoline version. The one distinction with the EV model is the lack of dual exhaust. Yet interestingly, they still decided to highlight where the exhaust would have been. Maybe that just completes the look, and they did that by highlighting these borders here with a different color trim. And up here you have a very subtle lip spoiler. That's a good design, and you could see the blue ring around the badge here to highlight that this is an electrified vehicle. And one extra thing to note is the shadow line package with this tester, so you get the black mirror caps and black trim all over the place. Now inside, the interior is called Oyster, and there's no real noticeable difference between this electric model versus the gasoline version. The design is pretty modern, however. A lot of manufacturers are going with this dual screen layout on a single curved panel. I love the digital driver display on here. It's customizable, of course. And then also over here on the right-hand side, you have this large infotainment system that you control via this iDrive controller. There's one additional screen up here, and that is the very large heads-up display. Do you like the amount of physical controls on the steering wheel? Even the heated steering wheel button is on the steering wheel itself, which is always a nice addition. Other important controls are also still physical. Over here in the center console, these are physical buttons, but they've been combined into one single button, just like the drive mode controls here between Sport, Comfort, Eco, Pro, and also the auto brake hold is on the same button. Same goes for the iDrive controller buttons on the side here. This is all one single movable button. As for the gear shifter, it's very low profile. I like this. Underneath the storage here, you have a couple of cup holders and also a wireless charger. As for the infotainment system, it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and also built-in navigation as well. For the second row, this is a smaller car, so 34.2 inches of rear legroom. I do like that there's automatic climate control in the center console there and a couple of USB-Cs. There's 36.6 inches of headroom back here. I'm 5'8", and I'm pretty comfortable. There is a little bit of legroom here, but if you're any taller, then you might want to just sit in the front row. For the cargo space, this is the Gran Coupe layout, so that rear window and the trunk is all one piece. I love how this is all integrated and hidden here, but only 10 cubic feet of storage space behind the second row. Fold the second row down and the space grows to 45.6 cubic feet, so much more usable. So if you're watching this video review way ahead in the future, this is the year 2024. It's kind of a weird automotive time, probably one of the strangest. We're making a big push for EVs. The US government is giving lots of tax credits, and some states are even charging no sales taxes for you to buy these EVs. That's a great perk. But then the demand for EVs hasn't been really that strong or as strong as a couple of years before. And also the charging infrastructure still kind of sucks. And as a result, the appeal for EVs have sort of declined, making car companies focus more on hybrids and other things. But they say that EVs are still the end goal. So we're certainly in that weird transition period. These EVs are fantastic cars, but they are very expensive. And from a cost perspective, it certainly doesn't make sense to buy these EVs if you care about reducing the total ownership cost, because even though they save you a lot of money in gas, don't really give you any break-even point unless you're driving it for 10 or 12 years or much longer than what you'd normally own these cars for anyway. So the real benefit of these EVs is that if you don't go on any long road trips and you could charge at home, well, then you never have to go to a gas station again. And for some people, that's a real time and cost savings because you save a lot of time, and time equals money. So with that mindset, this i4 is basically just like your 4 Series Gran Coupe with a different power plant. It looks the same, drives somewhat the same, and it has all the same technology features inside. But you do pay for it. This specific example starts at $61,600 before delivery. With all the packages and the paint that you find on here, this comes in at $77,920 after delivery. So the spirit of the 3 and the 4 Series, the brand equity and the enthusiasm, is it still alive and well in the i4 xDrive40? I certainly think so, but you just have to find it on the right roads. EVs are soulless and boring because the roads that you're driving are soulless and boring. You just have to find better roads and let these cars live. If you want to watch my BMW M340i review, click this link over here. But I want to thank you guys for watching all the way till the end. My name is Hanson. That's the BMW i4 xDrive40, and I'll see you in the next one.